Hi guys, before we get into this video, I just wanted to let you know that I lost some of the footage that I took in this video originally, which I started about 3 weeks ago from today when I'm filming. So that's why I have changed outfits. So just so you know, apologies. Hi guys, welcome to Short Skirts and Sarcasm. I'm Caroline, and this is a part 2 of the Quarter of a Century Makes a Girl Think series. And I made myself another bullet journal. I made myself 5 little fake post-its with 5 titles each. And these are all print books that I need to get reading soon. My previous Quarter of a Century Makes a Girl Think video was so long, and I am hoping to not replicate that. So let's get into it. And I'm gonna go through these alphabetically, per usual. So the first is A Cat, a Man, and Two Women by Chutyuchiro Tamazaki, author of the Makioka Sisters, and In Praise of Shadows. And this is about Shinako, who has been ousted from her marriage by her husband Shozo and his younger lover Fukuko. She's lost everything, her home, status, and respectability. Yet the only thing she longs for is Lily, the elegant tortoiseshell cat she shared with her husband. As Shinako pleads for Lily's return, Shozo's reluctance to part with the cat reveals his true affections and the lengths he'll go to hold on to what he loves most. So this is a pretty short one. I bought this not too long ago in the brief period when bookshops were open. I went to Daunt and bought, I think, multiple books about cats. So it's very on brand for me, honestly. So I'm excited for this. Next up, I have Arthur and George by Julian Barnes. It was a Man Booker Prize finalist. And this is a book my mom gave me. And I have quite a lot of books my mom gave me that I need to sort of get to at some point. And what is this about? As boys, George, the son of a Midlands vicar, and Arthur, living in a shabby, genteel Edinburgh, find themselves in a vast and complex world at the heart of the British Empire. Years later, struggling with his identity in a world hostile to his ancestry, and the other creating the world's most famous detective while in love with a woman who was not his wife, their fates become inextricably connected. Huh. I totally forgot what this is about. So clearly a sign that I actually need to read it. Next up is Aspects of the Novel by E.M. Forster. Another short one. And this is E.M. Forster's nonfiction writing about how to write a novel. And it is also what inspired Virginia Woolf, or at least part of what inspired Virginia Woolf to write A Room of One's Own as a, not rebuttal, what's the word I'm thinking of? Response to this. So I still haven't read it. Next up, another Japanese novella. It is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, Tales from the Cafe by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And it has a really nice cover, and it has a cute cat on it. So we see a theme here, I think. And I loved Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I've been meaning to read this. I like bought this immediately when it came out, and I've been meaning to read it, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. So high priority. And next I have Cultures of War by John W. Dower, author of the Pulitzer Prize winning book Embracing Defeat. So this is chunky, and I've had this since my undergrad, and I've been meaning to read it since then. And as you can see, I've like tabbed a few relevant things. And it says it's about Pearl Harbor, Hiroshima, 9/11, and Iraq. Like, obviously all of this sounds really interesting to me. It's super intimidating. So next up on my bullet journal spread, I have Gachar Gochar by Vivek Shanbag. And this is a nice short book that I got when my friend was clearing out her books. So this has been sitting on my shelves for about 3 years maybe, and I need to get to it. And it is about a close-knit family that undergoes an almost miraculous change in fortune. Allegiances and desires realign, and a marriage falls apart. and tensions build unstoppably towards a devastating conflict. So this sounds really interesting, and I don't know what to expect. And also, like, the inside is a bunch of ants. So I'm excited to know how the ants come into the story. And next, I have Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And my friend gave this to me for Christmas because I loved Mexican Gothic so much. And so I am very, very excited for this. And this is set in the Jazz Age, which is also exciting. Mexican Gothic was set in 1950. And so I'm enjoying this sort of historical fiction with a creep vibe that Sylvia Moreno Garcia seems to have. So the Jazz Age is in full swing, but Cassiopeia Toon is too busy scrubbing floors in her wealthy grandfather's house to do more than dream of a life away from her small town in southern Mexico, until the day she accidentally frees an ancient Mayan god of death who offers her a deal. In return for Cassiopeia's help in recovering his throne, he will grant her whatever she desires. So this sounds scary and creepy and exciting and adventurous, and I cannot wait to read it. Next, I have Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and I read the first book in this series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, quite recently, and it was a fun time, and so I would like to continue with the fun times. And I've also pre-ordered the third book so that a fun time can be had by all. And in this one, the main character, Pippa, has solved the murder from the first book, and she now has a true crime podcast, and now she needs to solve a missing persons case. So more excitement. I think we can see a theme that I like: mysteries and murder and creep. Which brings us to the next book I have, which is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. And you may have seen this in my birthday book haul video, and this is a book that I am technically borrowing from a friend, so I didn't quite haul it. But this is another creep, and it is about a woman who goes to her friend's bachelorette party in I think northern Scotland, a remote cottage for sure, in the woods, as you might be able to tell by the title. So, and then mysterious things happen. My friend said she really, really liked it. And then another big, intimidating hardback, that is A Tale of Three Cities, Istanbul by Bethany Hughes. And so this is a straight up history book about the city of Istanbul and its history, and the three cities being Byzantium, Constantinople, and then Istanbul, which of course is the same city, just over 3 different periods of rule. So I actually went to an event at Waterstones that Bethany Hughes was, where she was talking about this book, and she did signings afterward. So she did sign this book for me, For Caroline and Joy, Bethany Hughes, and that was in January of 2017. So I have been excited to read this book, but it's just so big. Let's see, it is exactly 800 pages. And I know that some of this is like endnotes and index, but that's still like 600 or 700 pages of just pure history. And I mean, it does have pictures in it as well. Ooh. The Theodosian walls foreground modern city of Istanbul, and I'll show you this so you can see old walls, modern city. So I am really hoping that I can get to this soon. So as you might know, I did recently read The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry, and I liked it enough that I thought I would give Melmoth a try, also by Sarah Perry. And this is much shorter, so that is fun. And this is again another historical fiction with a mystery, I believe, but it's set not in the 1890s like The Essex Serpent was. Let's see. One winter night in Prague, Helen Franklin meets her friend Karel on the street. Agitated and enthralled, he tells her he has come into possession of a mysterious old manuscript filled with personal testimonies that take them from 17th century England to wartime Czechoslovakia, the tropical streets of Manila, and the 1920s Turkey. All of them tell of being followed by a tall, silent woman in black bearing an unforgettable message. So, creepy, mystery, historical setting. You know our theme. That's what we like. Yet another creepy book. I did not notice the correlations of all the creep when I put this list together, but I think we know that my priorities are always in the creep direction. We like creep, and that is 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. And I think she is possibly best known for her books Big Little Lies and The Husband's Secret. Obviously, Big Little Lies was turned into a very star-studded, exciting TV show, which is very good, and I do love it, and I have read the book, and it's also great. And I also have read The Husband's Secret and 3 Wishes, which I think is my favorite of them, but it's way underhyped. It's about triplets and basically their tensions that they have growing up, and I love it, but we can do more on that in another video. 9 Perfect Strangers is 9 people who go to the same resort retreat, but they all have something to hide, and presumably we find out what it is. And the blurb just says, one luxury retreat in the middle of nowhere, 10 days in which no one can leave, 9 strangers seeking perfection and each discovering the perfect lie. So I don't know what else to expect about from this. Leanne Moriarty's sister, Jacqueline Moriarty, has also written one of my favorite books probably ever, Feeling Sorry for Celia. And she also has a newish book out called Gravity is the Thing, which is also set in a retreat. So I would really love to read those together, or at least close enough together so that I can not compare them, because I don't want to stoke sibling rivalry, but see the ways in which they complement each other, which I think is one of the joys of siblinghood, but I wouldn't know because I don't have any. Next, another short book, not really a mystery this time. It is Old Possum's book of Practical Cats, and it's very, very short because it's just a T.S. Eliot poem. And this was in my classics collection video, so if you watch that, you know that this is illustrated by Edward Gorey, which is just delightful. Edward Gorey, excellent illustrations. I love them. And so this is the poem that inspired the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical Cats. And I haven't seen Cats because I don't like the music, but I have seen enough clips of the recent movie to know that I never want to see it because it's so horrifying. But I would like to read the poem because it's probably, hopefully, not as horrifying. And if it is, it's short. I don't have to waste more than 2 hours of my life. And next up, this is one in a series that we already know that I love, and that is Stiff Upper Lip, Jeeves by P.G. Woodhouse. And you guys already know that I love P.G. Woodhouse books, especially the Jeeves series. And for some reason, this is the only one of the series that I actually have in print, and I haven't read it. I have a bunch of them on Kindle. I've listened to several of them on audio, but this is the only print one I have, and I haven't read it. So that's embarrassing, but I will hopefully get to it soon, especially because it's not very big, and the P.G. Woodhouse's prose is very easy to read, easy to get through. And then I have The Human Rights Dictatorship by Ned Richardson Little, and it's kind of embarrassing that I haven't read this yet. I know I put this in my nonfiction book haul a few months ago, and I know the author, so I really, really need to read it. And it's also not that big, but of course it is nonfiction, so it's probably a little bit more dense than, I don't know, P.G. Woodhouse. And it's also about Cold War history, which is not my area at all. I did a lot of Cold War stuff in my undergrad and hated it. But this is about human rights in East Germany during the Cold War period, which I am into human rights, as should we all be, but So I think I will actually like this book, and like I said, I know the author, so I do need to read it soon. So my next book I got completely by accident and did not pay for it. Please don't tell Waterstones, and that is The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. And I ordered 3 books from Waterstones at some point during the early stage of the pandemic because I had some gift cards to use up, and I got free shipping on it. And when it came, it didn't have 3 books in the package, it had 4, and this was just an extra book that somehow wound up in that package that I didn't order and didn't pay for. I mean, sure, I'll take free books. So this is about a group of children who get their fortunes told and find out the date of their deaths, and then it goes through their lives and then their eventual deaths. So, I mean, this does not feel like it's shaping up to be a happy and uplifting book. And I know that recently Emma from Drinking by My Shelf and Leanne from Literary Diversions did a buddy read of this, and they both like kind of didn't like it. Like Emma liked it more than Leanne. So I'm just even more intrigued now, and I would like to get to this soon. And hopefully I like it, but if not, then I'll have read it and then I can give it away, pass it on to someone else and give them a free book. Next up, I have The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Richard Flanagan, and this was the Man Booker Prize winner of 2014. And I got this maybe in like 2016, quite a while ago now, but it is about a POW camp in what was then Burma, and you know, the struggle for survival. So again, not a happy book, but it looks interesting, and I do hope I like it. I feel like if I have hyped it up in my head a lot, because I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for it yet. I'm not ready for it yet. I'm waiting for the perfect moment to start this, and maybe I need to get to it soon. Like, I've put a bookmark in it and everything. Like, I'm ready to go, but I just haven't actually started it. Another Booker Prize winner, this time from 2005, and that is John Banville's The Sea. And this is another one that I got for free when my uni halls after my first year of university were shutting down, and they had a bunch of books, and they were like, you can just take whatever. And so I got my big shopping bags and took like a quarter of it. I took a lot of books. So I didn't pay for this, and I am kind of glad, because in sort of the recent year, John Banville was like, well, if I were writing The Sea now, would never have won the Booker Prize. I'm like, I don't know, dude, why are you complaining about possibly not winning a prize that you've already won? That's just kind of weird to me, but whatever. So this is a super hyped book, and it's about an art historian who returns to the seaside village where he once spent a childhood holiday. He is both escaping from a recent loss and confronting a distant trauma. So again, super happy vibes coming from that. And then another present, I got The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I've got this. I do also have a Kindle version of Daisy Jones and the Six, which was on the podcast Sentimental Garbage, which is always a sign that I need to read a book. So I am excited to read this and that, and then maybe like think about how they compare. But this is about a reclusive Hollywood icon, Evelyn Hugo, and she is ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses an unknown magazine reporter, Monique Grant, to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. So this is an LA story, and seems to be equal parts glamour and tragedy. So again, happy vibes. And the last happy vibe book on this particular, I don't know, fake post-it note in the bullet journal spread is The Three Daughters of Eve by Elif Shafak. And we know that I love Elif Shafak. I've never read anything by her that I didn't absolutely love. So the bar is set high, and I am excited for this. And one spring evening in Istanbul, Perry is on her way to a dinner party, a night of luxury, a far cry from her upbringing. But when her handbag is stolen, her world shifts violently. She starts to doubt how she got there. A traumatic Istanbul childhood, student years at Oxford, the rebellious professor who led her and her best friends Shireen and Mona to question everything: Islam, love, life, even God, and the scandal that tore them all apart. Over one desperate night, she tries to make sense of the past she has tried to forget, but can we ever escape who we once were? Shireen, Perry, and Mona, they were the most unlikely of friends. They were the center, the believer, and the confused. So this actually has a bit of like dark academia vibes reading the blurb on the back. So I am super extra excited for this. My only issue with this book is that for some reason the people at Penguin used to have all of the Elif Shafak covers follow like a similar aesthetic trend, and for some reason, like starting with this book, continuing forward. Like this one and 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world don't have like the same aesthetic. Like you can see on the back that like Architect's Apprentice, Bastard of Istanbul, 40 Rules of Love. Will it focus? No. Okay, but they have a similar aesthetic, and for some reason they've changed it. Why, Penguin? Why? My last little 5 title post-it. We've arrived. We're almost done with this video, and so we will get into it. The first on this pile is The Tortilla Curtain by T.C. Boyle, and this is another one that I pillaged from my university halls. And this is set in California, and there's an accident between 2 people, one a prosperous white American and one is an illegal Mexican immigrant. They both want to not have this car accident reported for different reasons, and that is where the story starts. And the blurb doesn't say a whole lot other than that. So it seems like another one where there's mystery, everyone has secrets. We know that's my thing. And this next one is actually embarrassing that I have not read this yet, and that is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. And it's really short. I should read it. Oh, I already should have read it, but I need to read it soon because it's embarrassing that I haven't. And the blurb says, Okonkwo is the greatest warrior alive. His fame has spread like a bushfire in West Africa, and he is one of the most powerful men of his clan. But he also has a fiery temper. Determined not to be like his father, he refuses to show weakness to anyone, even if the only way he can master his feelings is with his fists. When outsiders threaten the traditions of his clan, Okonkwo takes violent action. Will the great man's dangerous pride eventually destroy him? And this is a super famous and important work of African literature. And I mean, I think we should like all read more African literature, but I need to get on this very, very soon. This next one is another present my boyfriend gave me, and this was like in 2016. So it is high time I read it, and that is War and Turpentine. What's his name? Stefan Hartmann's. And I think this is a World War I story, which again, we know that I love wartime stories, especially World War I. And so this is both about like art history, and war in novel format. And it's not too long, so I am pretty sad that I've let it languish on my shelves. It's like 300 pages, so I mean the pages are big, but still, I would really love to get to this soon. So I have high hopes for this. So this is another prize winner, also from 2005, but it won the Orange Prize, and I think is now known as like the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction. And that is We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. And I know that this is going to be a hugely heavy book because it is about school shootings. But I do need to read it, and this is another one that I got from my university hall, so it's been languishing on my shelves since, I don't know, like 2015. So I need to get to it because it's been like 6 years now. Shortly before his 16th birthday, Kevin kills 7 of his fellow high school students, a cafeteria worker, and a teacher. He is visited and imprisoned by his mother, Eva, who narrates in a series of letters to her estranged husband, Franklin, the story of Kevin's upbringing. So yeah, this sounds devastating, but it would be interesting to see if this has aged well, considering how much the discourse around school shootings has evolved since 2005. So I'm definitely dragging my feet on this one, but we need to read about Kevin. And the last book in this quarter of a century makes a girl think high priority print books video is Year of the Monkey by Patti Smith. And this is another one that I borrowed from my friend, the same one who I borrowed In a Dark Wood from. And this is a memoir about Patti Smith, the author, and how she narrates a year of like self-exploration in starting in California, in Northern California, in San Francisco. And I'm also from Northern California, so it'll be interesting to see how I relate to it personally. And this sounds really interesting, My friend, I think, rated this 4 or 5 stars, so really highly, and I've just seen like a Goodreads email update being like, oh, this is what your friends have been rating, and someone else I know has just read this and rated it 2 stars. So I am excited to see what I will think of this, and of course I will let you know, because this is booktube and that's the entire point. But you get it. So you can like this video, you can follow for more exciting content, including when I actually read all of these 25 books, and you can also follow me on social media. I will have everything linked below, and I will hopefully have a new quarter of a century Makes a Girl Think video up for you soon. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!